Hey YouTube, it's another perfect day in God's country, and I ain't lying. As the Upper Peninsula of Michigan gets absolutely hammered and crippled from another monster cyclone super bomb storm. Just another normal day here in the UP, folks. Everybody's fine. We got a little more snow. It's just another day in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Y'all are watching too much television. We're fine. Now, I want to take a moment just to thank each and every one of you for taking yet another moment out of your day to hang out with me, Lucky Haskins. But let's talk about the basic truths here for a minute. Message to mom and dad. 1975 or 1976. Mom, I remember being on the front porch at 15857 Fox Avenue. 313-255-3941, the landline that rang into our kitchen. I remember clearly pointing out a chemtrail plane to my dad, Mr. Wilson Charles Bailey, and saying, "Dad, what is that? Why is that plane dropping that huge cloud behind it?" The answer that I got, which ironically was a very common answer in those years, he was not the only one to tell me this, was it was a what they called a fuel dump. And he said they were dumping fuel because they were getting ready to land at Detroit Metro Airport, which was, as the crow flies, pretty darn close to our house. So I sort of said, "Oh, okay." But it didn't ring true with me, and it just didn't ring right, even as I was 5 or 6 years old, saying, "Wow, they're just dumping all that jet fuel all over the people. This is a heavy populated area," and seemed to me to be very bizarre that they would just drop the fuel right on the human population. So it was not resonating with me. However, as I was an individual that somehow was not drug into every piece of indoctrinative propaganda that was being used to socially engineer the populace at the time, I just wasn't concerned with that. I've always been an outside guy, wanted to live and was chasing real life. To me, success in this world has always been the same. The same thing. It's always equaled success to me. Freedom. The more freedom you have, the more successful you are. I've always wanted to be free. From running out the front door when I was 4 years old in diapers and running laps around the block and asking the old people for cookies, to today, I still chase the same success story, that is freedom. I'm not giving my time to the greedy owners of this here civilization that they recently again acknowledged that they inherited. I saw a little snippet. Mark Rubio, some conservative was blowing sunshine up Mark Rubio's butt, and they showed this little clip of him saying, "We are the heirs to this great civilization." And I just chuckled at how the human race falls for this manipulation as these people continue to just speak clear and poignant truth right to your face. Yes, they truly believe they are the heirs to this populace. They have no issues manipulating you the way that they do. They truly feel that way and can say it right in front of you, and the populace thinks they're included in that conversation for some reason. I pointed this out since I was a child. Yeah, the left, the right, the Democrat, the conservative. They give us two guys to choose from, and that's called an election. They're two guys, right? By the way, for those of you who don't know, we've never had a president of the United States because every single one of them was already pre-oathed before ever being placed in front of the populace and called the president of the United States. As you know or may not know, you have to take an oath to be sworn in to be the president of the United States. Most of the populace as well is not aware that all of our so-called presidents were all Freemasons and of the secret societies and have already taken that oath. And of course, they laugh and joke about secret societies and think immediately of conspiracy theories because they're mentally lazy and don't want to understand the truth. They like their fairy tales they're living in. And it's quite frankly sad to witness. It's very hurtful to witness people latching on and hating each other because the television tells them to. It's gone so far. I was just at 1975. Now I'm bringing you forward. It's gotten so ridiculous at this point. I've pointed it out every step of the way I possibly could my entire life. And yet, even the people that I grew up around that have always said to me, you know, man, dude, you're the most intelligent dude I ever hung out with. I love having conversations with you, this and that. I ace every test I'm ever given. I succeed in anything I ever set out to do. However, when I speak clear and poignant truth, suddenly I'm a whack job. It's interesting. It's been a wild ride, to say the least, folks. One thing I've learned in my 56 years on this earth is that my words are meaningless to most. So I do thank each and every one of you that takes a moment out of your day to chime in and listen to what old Lucky Haskins has to say. I no longer say as much as I used to because I've realized that my words are, meaningless to most. Very few critical thinkers left in this reality. My words are basically meaningless. However, let's go back, 1975. I was told they're fuel dumps. Shortly after that, we moved an hour away from the airport, and I still continued to watch and observe these fuel dumps, never again to not be fascinated by this phenomenon. Now, over the years, we watched the light, puffy white clouds go away, and it be replaced from the cloud system that is simply dropped from airplanes. People still deny this is going on, which again is just an unbelievable thing to witness, that people's minds have been so manipulated that they can't take a few hours out of their day to look up and see what's going on, but yet they can take time out of their day to make fun of the critical thinkers that have been observing, reporting on, talking about, looking into, fascinated with, for years and years and years. It's incredible to witness, folks. People just, oh, what a nut job. Yeah, right. That's the easy way out, isn't it? Just recently, I had a family member ask me about the flat earth and that it must be a religious thing, and was trying to connect it to my belief in the Most High or the divine spark. And I simply said, oh, I see where this is going. No, folks. The globe earth hypothesis and the truth surrounding it is simply scientific purely. The globe earth is the one world religion and is a blind belief never proven by anyone. For those of you who like to go, oh, Lucky thinks he's smarter than a scientist. There is no such thing as a scientist that ever proved it was a globe. Doesn't exist. If you believe it does, go get me a name. Please and thank you. I already know that, okay? I've been studying the science for a long time. Theoretical science has been used to manipulate the human mind far beyond what the average human being will ever have the comprehension skills intact enough. They're in there, folks, but they've been destroyed intentionally. Just to give you an example, my son just recently came home from school and said the teacher was talking about the density gradient today, and he included gravity in the equation, but spoke of it as if it were real, never once mentioned it was a theory. That is actually corruption, folks. We have allowed that form of corruption to lead the way. That is intentional corruption and the manipulation of young minds. Of course, to understand science whatsoever, you need to be taught which parts are theoretical and which parts are demonstrable. Of course, folks. Yeah, but really smart guys came up with these theories and fabricated them, and then there's evidence to support them. No, there's not. Sorry. The globe earth is a really bad hypothetical model. It was a hypothesis that's only been turned into a mathematical model, which fails at every point. So they invent and fabricate wild, spectacular theories to pretend it could work. It is nothing more. It is nothing less to all of the human minds that are too lazy and fall for the garbage propaganda from propagandists such as Sabine Hassenfelder that like to tell you today's science is far more complex than the average human could possibly understand. Don't read our scientific papers and believe that you can understand them. Folks, unless you have a mental disability, if you graduated high school, you too can understand and comprehend every single scientific paper ever written. You have the capabilities to take a piece of paper, to take a piece of information, to take anything any other human being ever wrote and comprehend it, unless you are lazy. You have all of the resources in the world available to you to explain to you every word you don't understand, anything you've never heard, any math you can't comprehend, all of it. You have all of the resources in the world available to you to dissect any scientific paper ever written. If somebody tells you that the science is too complicated for you to understand, you are being manipulated by a shallow and indoctrinated mind. 100%. Folks, the earth is not a globe. There's no such thing. There is no such thing as an airborne contagion. There is no such thing. Provably, there is no such thing as an atom. Provably, you don't get to make something up and then say, you can't prove my idea is not real. Folks, you can't prove your idea because it's not real. The same story with the globe. These people have it so inverted. Well, you can't disprove the globe. That makes it real. Folks, it's easily disproven. What they mean is that you can't disprove all our fabricated ideas that support our really bad hypothesis. You can't disprove any of our theories. You can't disprove dark matter. You can't disprove dark matter. You can't disprove black holes. Folks, you don't get to make something up that suits your narrative and then claim that it exists until you can prove it doesn't. That is not science. That's social engineering for weak, gullible, indoctrinated minds. When is the rest of the human race gonna snap out of it, realize you've been lied to about everything? Wake up and restore your own critical thinking. Autodidactic educations are mandatory if you have any desire at all to understand this world, this realm that you live in, on the earth that lies within the waters, in this realm that we call home. That's clearly, demonstrably, provably level topographical plane that we live on, proven over and over and over. Never let somebody tell you that you can't disprove their fabricated theory like warped space-time. Okay? You're being manipulated. Stop it. Now that we've established none of those things are real, folks, what is the weather? The weather is created in this system that we live in, this pressurized system created with a density gradient created by gases and the natural entropy of those gases. Weather is created by that natural entropy, okay? The process of gas molecules seeking their place in the natural environment creates weather. Weather, therefore, is easily manipulated by adding to, subtracting from, or otherwise manipulating those gases. That simple. They have been doing it since I was born, and now they're doing it so drastically, it's pathetic. I just got off texting with my mama, and she was like, "Are you guys okay? Oh my God," because the news is reporting that everything's dangerous and we're getting hammered with dangerous storms and everybody's screwed and the whole community's shut down. None of it's true, folks. Just another snowy day in the UP. It's been this way all winter. They're scaring the shit out of the rest of the world. Why? Because we're getting very close to Agenda 2030, as I've been talking about for 12 years or whatever. Climate change is the agenda needed. That's the propaganda they're going to use to finish the complete and total squashing of any hope of freedom for humanity. The control grid will be complete by 2030, and you're not going to recognize this world because people won't take their heads out of their butts. Now, when I first moved to this is how fast the chemtrailing and the manipulation of weather is advancing. One of the reasons I moved to where I moved to is because this is the land of beautiful blue skies and clear skies at night and stars and all that. And it was still that way when I moved here. We'd see the sunshine every single day. And me and my son, ironically, I'm going to throw this in, he was 4 or 5, and we'd go down to the beach every day and look at the daytime moon. And I remember asking him before he was indoctrinated, hey, we've been looking at that daytime moon now all summer long. What do you think that is up there? And he said, well, Dad, I've really been looking at it a lot with you. And hang on just a second, folks. And he said, the only thing I figure it can be is a reflection. And I was so proud. I'm like, that's how you use your own mind. Is he right? Is he wrong? We don't know, folks. We'll never know. I guarantee you this. The odds of his simple guess from a pure, unindoctrinated child mind that was very bright and still is, just casual observation and a claim that he is probably far more close to the truth, if not spot on, than the horseshit we've been fed to, this theoretical science that people just love to latch onto and let it guide their lives as they run humanity straight down the frickin' toilet. By design, and it's sad. It's so sad to watch, folks. Okay, so back to the weather. So now, by the way, we don't get to see the daytime moon anymore or the stars at night because now we live in a very key instrumental point to controlling the weather in the United States. So we are chemtrailed every single day now. If I wake up and the skies are blue, I go outside just to start watching the chemtrails just so I can point it out and look, here they go. And the one of the things about where I live, because so many people that still want to keep their head in the sand, maybe they just love the lies, they love the propaganda, they love the television and all of the indoctrination that comes along with it and the absolute lies, deceit, and horseshit propaganda used to guide this civilization down the toilet. Listen, they chemtrail so much up here now, and every one of them planes is ghosted, meaning any human being right now can go to flighttracker.com and you can see all of the planes in the air right now. The FAA will shows them all. You can follow them, track them, see where they're flying, blah, blah, blah. And every single day, they chemtrail over Lake Superior and the UP, and not one of those planes shows up on radar because we're not in a flight path, which is very rare in the United States. We're literally not in a flight path. The only large commercial appearing planes that fly over us are the chemtrail planes. And so, but today, my mama called me because the news is saying we're all screwed and we got hammered, and they're doing this because they're pushing climate change, of course. Fear porn all over your television. They have to start pushing climate change, folks. They have to start pushing it hard because we're 4 years away from 2030. I'd say they're running slightly behind schedule. And of course, people are waking up and starting to reject the technology, which is the only way to save humanity. Turn it off, okay? I would present a challenge to anybody watching this video. Go 30 days with no phone, no internet, no television, no nothing. You won't even recognize yourself after 30 days, and you'll realize, wow, did I get swept away in a bunch of meaningless horseshit. Just basically helping the agenda push itself along by being pissed at your neighbor, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's talk about the weather. So today, we're getting hammered with the storm. I get a text from my mama, are you okay? And I tell her, yes, we're okay. Don't believe the news. And then she says, well, it's like 106 today in Mesa, where our normal is like 70. So I immediately after I'm done talking to my mama, I log on and I look at a live cam in Mesa, completely chemtrailed out, folks. And you know what? People will walk outside in Mesa and deny it. I mean, whoop! I guarantee. And of course, why did I log on to the webcam? because I know why it's 106 degrees in Mesa, because they're pushing climate change. They're manipulating the weather. They've been manipulating the weather as long as I've been alive. We live in an enclosed, pressurized system. It's not complex to manipulate the weather, folks. You simply manipulate and introduce things into the existing gases, and you can then manipulate those gases to create the type of weather you would like to create. This is not rocket science. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out, and it's way out of control. People, please stop worrying about the weather and start worrying about who's manipulating the weather. Or if you feel and you realize there's nothing you can do about it, turn off all your shit and enjoy your family and your life. But quit falling for the propaganda. If you can't figure out yet that your news is not real, if you can't figure out yet that the television and the media and sending radioactive activity into your houses at all, which began, less than 100 years ago, was only for one purpose: to manipulate you. What are you doing with your life? Watching TV? Well, being lied to and told what to think and do. Being lied to, being scared to death about an airborne contagion that's been proven to be impossible. We know it's not possible. Scientists tried to prove it. It doesn't exist. No matter how much you like their fabricated idea, it doesn't exist. However, millions of people threw masks on and got pneumonia, didn't they? Yeah. I watched the gas station attendant up near me get pneumonia like 4 times that winter because she was forced to wear a mask. And she knew it. She would tell me, they're making me wear this mask. It's making me so sick. Well, duh. This is why OSHA regulations require any job that requires you to wear a mask like that for you to take a break every few minutes, because they know, folks, you can't start your car and stick the tailpipe in your mouth and think you're going to be okay. But the television told you there was an airborne contagion and you needed to put a mask on. And so what did you do? Aid and abet the propaganda. Let people die because their pneumonia wasn't being treated properly, was being misdiagnosed. You let people get prescribed a medication that was known and proven to kill 49% of the people who took it. You allowed that because you love your television and you believe. And most human beings do not know that the CIA runs every news station. Most people don't know that. If you don't know that, you can laugh and call it a conspiracy theory, or you can look it up yourself and follow the path and realize that you're watching CIA news. Both sides. Folks, wake up. Okay? So climate change, the nasty weather, of course, folks, look up and watch them manufacture it and put away your fear. If you want to do something about it, direct your attention at the criminals. Period. Okay? People that say, oh, truthers are paranoid. No, folks. Truthers do not fear these psychopaths. We're not paranoid. It is those people that follow the indoctrination and allow the propaganda to lead their lives that are afraid of everything. Afraid of getting a traffic ticket, afraid of filling out their paperwork wrong, afraid of them coming for them, afraid of them auditing them, afraid of them this. Folks, these are dirtbag, corrupt psychopaths, and they hate you. Stop playing their game. If humanity wants to save itself, it's really simple, folks. Turn it off. Break the connections, refuse the technology. Of course, humanity would be restored to normalcy in less than 30 days if everybody turned it off. They all went outside and realized, hey man, there's actually nothing wrong. Stop believing in the fake wars put together to keep you falling in line. Stop supporting the corruption. Turn it all off. Take your head out of your own anus, folks, and keep both boots on the ground. If it's not demonstrable, it's not science, folks. If it's not demonstrable and independent of the observer, it's a belief. Those who own and control society giving you pictures of a globe on your television is not proof. No matter how much you love believing your CIA-run television. Okay? It's not proof. Don't pretend it is. If you're foolish enough to think that your television gives you proof you live on a globe and you're too lazy to understand or comprehend the science surrounding this horrific hypothesis that's been used to just pummel the human race, if you're too lazy to look into it, I mean, kick back, grab a cup of coffee, kick back in your lazy boy and enjoy the shit show, folks, because you guys think it's been bad so far. Nobody understands, seemingly, that these folks are throwing it into high gear, man. 2030 is a real thing. And if you go and read Agenda 2030, boy, they made it look as pretty as they can. And if you're indoctrinated enough that you believe you live on a globe Earth and that the germ theory is correct and atoms are real and nuclear weapons are real and the Lahaina fires were just an accident, and if you're still that gullible, folks, and chemtrails are not real, if you're still that gullible, you're probably gonna fall for the propaganda that is Agenda 2030, because they like to use words like inclusion and those kind of things, because the elite are absolute brilliant propagandists and masters of doublespeak. And as we see out our window today, it's been so highly effective. And, is what it is. So, yeah, hey, Mom and Dad, after you told me it's going to be 106 degrees in Mesa today, I would encourage you to do what I did. Go outside and look at your skies. Those are clouds that began as chemtrails. I've been watching them now for almost 50 years, actually over 50 years. So you don't have to bother explaining to me what a condensation trail is. By the time I was 12, I could clearly distinguish the difference between a chemical spray and a condensation trail. So I've got at least, 45 years of understanding the difference between condensation and chemicals. So just wanted to point that out to anyone that might be concerned. Nothing funnier, folks, than, the humor in this world. I guess, man, that's all we can do is laugh at it. But like I said, folks, humanity is not going to turn off. Everybody's so addicted. Nobody's going to turn it off. There's nothing left to do but grab a cold beer and kick back and watch the shit show. But I reckon folks like me are going to keep flapping my jaws as the ship of fools goes down. We'll be, and the band played on. The band played on. Ask yourself, who can I help today? And if you can get outside, go do it.